today's show, R. Kelly, a man who has been taken to court before for child pornography charges, and of course gotten off the hook because these guys always get off the hook. A man who has married a 15-year-old girl, yet nobody seems to care. Still worshipped by many sleeping zombie fans out there. According to various sources, R. Kelly is supposedly keeping women locked up. 6 women, apparently aged 18 to 31, in various properties that he owns in Chicago and Georgia, where he physically abuses these women and secludes them from their families using various mind control techniques. Sound familiar? Doesn't feed them, makes them beg for food, uses them as sex slaves. All stuff that we know that the occult does as they use mind control on children. Now, this says 18 to 31, but if you look at R. Kelly's track record, when he was 27 years old, he married a 15-year-old girl who went on to become the famous musician Aaliyah, who later was sacrificed. So it was no big deal, right? He was 27, he married a 15-year-old, had them lie in the court documents to say she was 18 when she was 15. Yet the guy's still on the loose, and we're supposedly, when he was then supposedly taken to court for child pornography charges, those were dismissed multiple times, and he's got multiple battery and abuse allegations and sexual misconduct allegations against him. So apparently this is R. Kelly, who is still worshipped by these fans despite having a track record of pedophilia. I mean, you marry a 15-year-old, okay? You're going to have to be considered a pedophile when you're 27. It's disgusting and it's sick. But not to these people. So what we're seeing here is R. Kelly keeping 18-year-olds to 31-years-olds. Supposedly those are the age range, but let's be realistic. I'm sure they're a lot younger. I'm sure there have been or are underage girls who are kept there because this is how they work. If you listen to my videos, I talk about how these covens operate. These women this is how they're treated in a lot of these covens. They are, they live in these homes. They never leave. They're slaves pretty much, but they want to be there. And they give birth to children. And those children are sacrificed. That's how the occult operates. I wouldn't be surprised because they're even calling this an R. Kelly cult. I wouldn't be surprised if these women are bearing children and then those children go missing. Because remember, they don't have birth certificates. They don't have identities here on Earth. They're just nameless and faceless victims of the occult. And that's why I think it's so important to raise awareness on this stuff, because if we can break these cults up, if we can bring awareness to it, then we can try and stop SRA, satanic ritual abuse, and child trafficking and sacrifice from happening. So let's get into this just bizarre story, but it's not a surprising story because you'll find more, when you research the occult, you research a lot of these people like Crawley who they worship, this stuff is just normal to them. This is nothing. This is nothing keeping them, locked up. And I'm sure some of them even have living cages or put in cages as abuse because they use trauma-based mind control on all these people. An investigative report about R. Kelly in which multiple sources are claiming that the R&B singer was keeping 6 women in a cult and dictating what they eat, how they dress, when they bathe, when they sleep, and how they engage in sexual encounters that he records. Now remember, this guy also was on a sex tape with a young child. Everybody remembers that. I mean, how this guy is walking the streets is beyond me. Oh no, it's not beyond me. You know why he's walking the streets. Because he's one of them. He's made a deal with the devil. And here on Earth, these guys don't have to abide by the laws. They can do what thou wilt. Now, back in 2008, he was ruled not guilty on 14 counts of child pornography, but he has a pattern of this stuff, a pattern of mistreating women, a pattern of pedophilia. Okay, like I said, sex tapes, marrying a 15-year-old girl, child pornography, yet this guy still has fans. It's amazing. If you remember, videotapes were anonymously sent to the Sun-Times in Chicago of sex tapes with R. Kelly and an underage girl who was identified as being 14. Kelly was indicted on 21 counts of child pornography corresponding to various acts shown in the tape. Upon his arrest at his vacation home in Florida, police would find additional footage of Kelly, prompting 12 additional counts of child pornography that would later be dropped due to a lack of probable cause for the search warrants. So let me get this straight. There's videotape of him having sex with a girl who's 14 years old, and he still gets off the hook. I mean, this is the world that we live in. When are we going to hold these people accountable? When are we going to hold our government accountable, our court systems accountable? What more would you need? How would people sit back and go, oh, he got all these, he's innocent because the court ruled him innocent. He's on tape having sex with a 14-year-old. He married a 15-year-old. So why are people surprised that he has girls 18 to 31, kept as prisoners in his home? Oh, the only thing you should be surprised about is the reported age of these women, because I guarantee you there are underage girls. Okay, these are tigers that don't change their stripes. These people are predators. They prey on these children. And when they get off the hook like this guy did multiple times, you think that's going to make him stop? He's going to learn a lesson. He's going to change his ways. This is going to enable him more to do more and more. He's being enabled by the system to continue this behavior. So you'll find, and it will come out, of course, that a lot of these women who are in these homes, not only are they going to be underage, but they're going to be a part of a covenant. Because I guarantee you they are breeding children. Children who are used for pedophilia and children who are sacrificed. And that's the hard reality of the world that we live in. But of course, Mr. Kelly, if we can even call him that, we just call him Demon Kelly, I'm sure will come out with a lot of cash to keep people quiet, right? These women, you don't think they can be bought and paid for. They're under trauma-based mind control, okay? He's abusing them. People who are victims of abuse, they never go against their handler. And if information like this comes out, you don't think he can use more abuse to keep them under control, more threats? I talk about this all the time with SRA, with young children, right? How they're abused, how they're afraid to come forward. So R. Kelly did release a statement through his lawyer. He's apparently alarmed and disturbed at these revelations, and he denies such allegations. And he's going to work diligently and forcibly to pursue his accusers and clear his name. Right. Isn't the real question here, how is this guy walking the streets? How is this guy not locked up for life? Okay, we're talking about multiple allegations of child abuse. Marrying a 15-year-old should be enough to get you locked up, right? That makes you a pedophile. Marrying a 15-year-old, pretty sick. Plus, being videotaped with a young girl. I mean, 14 years old. The story goes on to say that several of the parents attempted to contact and free their daughters from R. Kelly's properties in Chicago and Georgia. Former members of Kelly's inner circle, 3 women by the name of Asante, Cheryl, and Kitty, allege that he controls what the women can and cannot do. The women ranging from 18 to 31 are required to refer to Kelly as daddy. So they have to refer to him as daddy. This is more of the same stuff that we see with SRA. This is the same stuff. This is how they control them. This is how they use power, they use trauma, they use abuse to control their victims. This is what the occult does to people. This is what these Satanists do. It says that Kelly reportedly confiscated their cell phones in addition to dictating their daily activities. He films all of their sexual encounters. And one of the women who explains this stuff about what goes on inside of R. Kelly's cultic circle says, Robert is the devil. What more do you need to hear? What more do you need to know? I mean, people still hear this story and they go, well, that's kind of weird. Why, the common thing people will say is, why did the women just leave, right? Why did they just walk out? Women's empowerment, Because they're under mind control. Because this is how cults work. Mind control is real. It's a weapon that's used on all of us every day, right? If their mind control wasn't working, then we wouldn't have to work 9 to 5 and slave for paper money just so we could have a roof over our head. People would fight against it and say, this is ridiculous. Let's all work, but let's all do things that we're, use the gifts that God God gave us. I'm sitting in a cubicle and answer phones and do sales or do marketing or any of this nonsense that does nothing. It provides nothing for the world. But we're all under it. So this is how these Satanists do. This is what they do to children. This is, they can do it to adults. But let's be realistic about the ages given, 18 to 31. Okay, that's very skeptical. Very, very skeptical. All you gotta do is look at his past history. But the real question is, how come people allow guys like this to walk? How many chances do they get? You don't pay your taxes, you're in jail for 5 to 10 years. This guy gets busted in porn videos with kids. He marries a 15-year-old and has child pornography on his computer. Yet he's free to do whatever he wants. People don't go, there's something suspicious about it. They just go, well, he's a celebrity, he's got money. It's because they all protect each other. That's part of the secret, right? That all of these elite and wealthy people are Satanists and they're pedophiles. And as long as they protect that, then they will help each other out. The cat won't get out of the bag. Even if people like me keep beating the drum, I'm gonna keep beating the drum and telling people that look deeper than just 6 women living in a house that are apparently slaves to R. Kelly. It's deeper than that. It's cultic. This is satanic. These are the same tactics that they use on children. They know what they're doing. They know how to gain power over these people, manipulate them, use trauma and abuse to control them, and they do it to kids. And I guarantee you that these women are breeding children. I will guarantee you that. Because this is a common theme. And this is why people go, how do they always have babies and stuff to sacrifice other than abortion clinics and kidnapping? Because they just breed them. Right? R. Kelly gives them a roof over their head just like any other Satanist out there. They give these women roofs over their heads. They don't have to work. Nobody even knows they exist. They're runaways. Next thing you know, they're getting pregnant. They give the child to the cult, the child gets sacrificed, the child gets abused, and it's just a never-ending cycle that needs to stop. So R. Kelly, folks, somehow this guy's still apparently relevant, still sings songs and does concerts, and people cheer for him. People cheer for a guy who married a 15-year-old, a guy who has nothing but ties to pedophilia. It shows you how sick and twisted our world is. The guy should be in his own cage, locked up somewhere. And thank you for listening to today's show. God bless all of you and your families.